Alright guys, what is up? Okay, so I don't usually do videos like this. This is just kind of like my thoughts on Covenant based on what we've seen so far. So it's probably going to be just me rambling. I'm really looking forward to it. I'll just put it right off the bat. I've been doing a bit of research and reading, and apparently the Xenomorph that you see in the trailer isn't actually the full-on big chap. This is just what I've read. Apparently that is actually the Protomorph. It's exactly the same, but if I just pull out my translucent figure, all the stuff like this biomechanical piping is not on the Protomorph. As some people have looked at the Xenomorph in the trailer, the alien, we'll just call it the alien, and it's missing all this biomechanical piping. So it's Protomorph, because as we know, the Xenomorph, I mean, I'm using a translucent prototype suit here because it's very easy to spot the detail on it. There's all this biomechanical look to it with all the pipes and all that. And it's generally a threatening creature. Don't get me wrong, anything related to the Xenomorph is threatening. Even anything, including the black liquid creatures, which we'll get onto in a minute. They're all threatening fuckers. Sorry. And so it's basically a more fleshy version of this. It's a bit like the Deacon. But what peed me off about the Deacon was we're not going to really, I don't think we're going to see any more of it, which is a shame because I'd love to know what that thing's capable of in combat. I really would. And plus that was only its hatchling form. What would it be like at full size? What would it be like as an adult? Another fun thing, a lot of people, I mean, it's a cat story out the bag, but for those of you who don't know, the Deacon was originally, in the early scripts of Prometheus, was actually going to be something completely different. It was going to be a beluga xenomorph. If you don't know what that is, Google it. If you don't know how to spell beluga, it's Beluga. It's basically, from what I know, they have taken that concept and turned it into the Neomorph, which is a new creature in Prometheus. We've not fully seen the Neomorph yet. We've seen very brief shots of it, and what we've seen, plus what it's been described as, matches the Beluga Xenomorph exactly. It's white, almost like kind of this kind of colour, but a bit fleshier, and with this transparent sheen on it, and like the dome here, and it's like, I don't really know. It's got two dorsal spikes coming out the back, much like these, but just imagine like that, just those two, but they're pointy, like the tip of a tail. Like long needles, thick needles coming out of its back. And apparently its head is, it's unknown if the head is spiky, like the Deacon. It's unknown, sorry, I'm just trying to sort the figures out. It's unknown if it's spiky like the Deacon. What would be interesting though is if they took some inspiration from James Cameron's, I mean obviously it's all written now, we're just waiting for it to come out, but what would be interesting is, well they might have done this, might not, if they took some of James Cameron's concepts from the original script of Aliens, which is this guy, the albino xenomorph. Yes, I know, that thing coming out of its mouth, it is what it looks like. Let's not focus on that. Because this is albino, this is white, due to lack of pigmentation. Maybe they did that with a Neomorph, or the Beluga Xenomorph. They didn't, it's unknown. This is really good, by the way. The elbow joints are nice and tight, but my knees are really loose. Yeah, this is kind of I like him personally. I think it looks real fucking cool like this. He does, he's a really cool figure. He's solid, actually. He's really solid. But yeah, it's really unknown what this is going to fully look like. I do hope it looks like the Beluga Xenomorph, but at the same time, I'm also hoping we get something unique. The Beluga Xenomorph is unique in itself. God, my hair, my roots are coming through. Look at that. I need to get them redone. I need to, you know, do that. So if we take a look at the Deacon here, you'll notice the head is like a very, very sharp point, and that's bloody sharp actually. The figure's quite sharp. Actually busted mine at the knee, but it still works, so I managed to pull a joint out and just glue it back in place, and it hinges. Just spreads out a bit. What's interesting is, from what we've seen, it has a similar body structure to the Deacon. The only difference is it has spikes on the back. And if it is true about the Protomorph and the Xenomorph, a further mutation may happen within the movie that causes the iconic big chap Xenomorph to arise. Do I think it has something to do with the black liquid? 50-50. Do I think that David 8 creates it? Yes, I do. I do think he might. More 70% of him doing it and 30% of him not doing it, because from what we've seen in Prometheus with his behaviour, sorry, my hair's going in my face, sorry. From what we've seen in Prometheus with his behaviour, he was very, very curious about that chemical, the black liquid. I can't say its full name because I'd have to look at a piece of paper with it on, and it's got a ridiculously long name of numbers and letters, and it's chemical A09 something. I don't know. I might be wrong on that, but I know it's chemical A something. It's what is it? I don't know. It's a very nasty stuff though. Like, I've got a photo on my phone that I'm filming with an actual, it's like a panorama almost, and it's got all the symptoms on it of it being breathed in and also being drunk. So there's two ways of getting infected by it. There's breathing it in, like if you were to splash it all over you, and then there's drinking the friggin' stuff. Not quite sure how it affects the Hammerpedes though. There was a lot of plot holes in Prometheus. A lot of plot holes. Covenant, from what we've seen, looks quite promising. It seems a lot of these plot holes that were left in Prometheus are going to be filled in. But what does concern me for the overall Alien franchise is the gaps is not that small. Prometheus had a good few years before Alien. Then Covenant is set 10 years after Prometheus, which means Ripley is alive in that time, and that means the Xenomorph, when Ripley discovers it, hasn't been around for that long. And the Bone Ship, which we first saw in Alien over Juggernaut, as it's actually now officially named, with the pilot in the chair, he's not actually been there for that long. Which means the eggs hadn't been there for that long, and whatever laid them must have run off somewhere. I really don't know. It is a very, very... it's a tricky thing. It is a tricky thing. Because there's a lot of things that they're not showing, and there's a lot of things that we want answered, which we don't know. And if they're not answered in Covenant, there's 2 more movies coming out, which does concern me, because they are really the gap is this big, and they're trying to cram so much into it. I just hope they pull it off, and I hope Ridley Scott directs the other 2. I really do, because Prometheus was an alright start, a 6 out of 10. Covenant is looking to be an 8 or a 9, or even a 10 itself. Which I'm hoping it is, because, I mean, Alien Isolation was great, but that didn't really help progress the story very much of the Xenomorph creature. It gave us a new alien type. I call it the Big Chap Alpha because it has those extra bits on the legs, like, because originally a normal Big Chap just has feet here, right? The Alpha, as I call it, has this extended bit here. So that makes me think that, you know, there could be a new type. It probably occurs every so often. Pardon me. So what I'm thinking is, you know, there could be more, maybe a different types of Xenomorph come out of people. I mean, to be fair though, the Isolation Xenomorph was a design thing in the game. It's never been seen in a movie before, but still canon. It's still canon, because Alien Isolation is canon. But what I do want is, as much as I love the fact that Colonial Marines kept Hicks alive, Alien 3 for me was where the franchise started to go downhill. I know some people will disagree, and fair enough. It actually had a lot of good points about it. It was good, but the story was just depressing as hell. I loved the effects, the acting, I loved the premise of it. I just wish the script was, the ending and the outcomes were a bit different, because it was I felt it was a very depressing movie. It was good, what it did right, but what it did wrong was just... I can't watch it without it setting my depression off. The music is good, but it doesn't half make you feel depressed. The dog alien was brilliant though. I would have liked to have seen the Giga's concept art also be put in the movie as another Xenomorph. So it wasn't just a dog alien, there was, you know, Giga's design as well. 2 aliens. I think that would have been neat, because we've only seen 1 alien in the movie. we've never actually seen 2. The only time we've seen like loads of them is Aliens. I'm not counting AVP because they're not canon to the Alien franchise. They're spin-offs and crossovers. They don't count. And as I was saying, you know, you could probably have. They should have had 2 aliens in Alien 3, maybe 2 because Ripley was carrying a queen. Could have 2 to guard it. Now think about how much more bloody that would have been. And then Resurrection for me is where they completely destroyed the franchise. It hasn't destroyed to an extent. It just destroyed the slot that Resurrection had. It just got destroyed. I like the aliens in it, except for the newborn. I really don't like that thing. You know, it was actually hermaphrodite, which means it had both male and female genitalia, but the producers didn't like that. So, and the 20th Century Fox and all those people, they didn't like it, so they used CGI and cut that bit out. Yeah, and I'm glad they did because it was stupid enough as it is. Why? Oh. How bad? I mean, I get what they were going for. They were trying to make it a bit more human. But sacrificing all its xenomorph features for a face... No. They could have made it a lot freakier looking. Kept the original design, tweaked it, maybe made it black, had a load of spikes off of it, looked much like, maybe make it look a bit like the Deacon. Obviously, the Deacon was never existed at that point, because the Prometheus was 2012, but they could have done something similar to maybe a Beluga Xenomorph, but maybe make the dome translucent and have big black eyes behind it. I don't know, I'm just brainstorming here. But what I'm saying is they could have made a newborn so much better. And Ripley, Ripley 8 in Alien Resurrection was not very good. She wasn't... It just wasn't Ripley, I'm sorry. The Ripley I knew died with Alien 3. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry to say that, but the Ripley I knew died with Alien 3. Oh, you say, oh, Ripley's back. No, it's not Ripley. It's not Ellen Ripley. Like Cole said, it's just someone different. It's just a clone. It's a shame, really, because they could have done something really good. I mean, if they made it exactly like the original Ellen Ripley, I mean, give in mind, she killed the Xenomorphs, alright? Here's her attitude to it originally. These things are threats. They must be taken down before they infect any more people or get off this planet. Here's her attitude in Alien Resurrection. It was in my way. Massive difference. She really didn't give 2 fucks in Alien Resurrection. She was weird. I did like, though, the enhanced senses and the acidic blood. The acidic blood I'm a bit on the fence about. Did like the enhanced senses, though. I did like that. Of how she, what is it? You know, she could sense the ship was moving. That was a pretty interesting concept. And the concept of them going to Earth was also interesting. There was actually a follow-up comic to that. Alien vs Predator vs Terminator, which I don't quite know how that would have made sense, because apparently Terminators would have been on the planet, and it would have been in the War of the Machines, but then Predators also come along, and the Predators recruit Ripley 8, and teach her to use Xenomorph's acidic blood to kill the Terminators. I'd have to read the comic to be sure, but I don't really know where I can find it, because comics go really rare once they go out the shops. They become rare. I want to hunt down the Thanos comics. You know me, I like Thanos. Like, figure right there, right above my finger. Yeah, I did that because I got the camera mirror mode, so I can pretty much pinpoint. I mean, there's Doctor Strange, there's Caesar Gojira, yeah, a bunch of others, and I think that one lying down there is Chopper Predator. Yeah, it is. And Winter Soldier and a Crimson Head Zombie also lying down. I think about Anti-Venom, but he's not showing it. As I was saying, yeah, the follow-up comic. I've not really read much Alien comics. I'm trying to stick to more towards what's canon, because if I go out of canon, it will literally mash up my brain. I've read a few of the AVP comics. I'd like to read Fire and Stone, though, because I've heard that sort of does continue with Prometheus, but I'm not sure. If it's considered canon, I will give it a go. I mean, it does show the Deacon. It does mention the Deacon. In fact, actually, the Deacon has quite a big role in it. I've heard. Maybe not so big. I don't know. Maybe that's a bit of an over-exaggeration. I've heard he does have a prominent role in it in one of the comics. Like, he kind of develops his own hive goo, and he sort of transforms into it, into this hive resin thing. I'm not sure. And the Ahab Predator's there, and he does some stuff. I hope the NECA really release an Ahab figure, a new one. They've already released one, but I hope they release one with a new Jungle Hunter body where he has the double-jointed elbows and the mid-torso ball-joint and the bicep swivel. I'd so pick that up. Because I'm going to start on the first release, and the only ones that are available are knockoffs from friggin' China, like nearly 50 quid a piece. Yeah. That's the problem with eBay, you get a lot of knockoff people. Right, so what else is there? There is also, so back to Covenant. The eggs have been redesigned. We've seen a slightly version of them. In fact, originally, they weren't going to have a 4-petal thing. It was just going to be 2. But they changed it because it looked a bit too sexual. So they, instead of having... Sorry about that. Stepmother FaceTimed. Yeah, because I had a bit of a funny incident at college where I collapsed, let's just say, on Tuesday. I don't know what happened. As I was saying, the eggs, if you were to look at the top, originally they were going to have a slit like this. Too sexual, so changed to a plus. And one of my friends, Mr. Olive, his surname is Olive, but I won't give his first name out because, you know, that's for reasons. He said that he read somewhere, and a few people have said this too, that a neomorph and the protomorph, or xenomorph, whatever you want to call it, the neomorph and the alien will have a fight. 50% of me wants it to happen, 50% of me doesn't, because... Oh, let me sort the camera out. I mean, it kind of makes sense, because the alien is a calculated creature. It's very calculated. Like in Aliens, we saw they're able to take the power offline. In Alien, they can navigate vents really well. What does a neomorph do mentally? From what we've read, or from what I've read, sorry, it's very animalistic. And I mean, we've all seen 28 Days Later. If you haven't, it's about a virus. It's not zombies. Everyone says it's zombies. No, it isn't. Those who do know jack shit. Off topic here. It's not about zombies. It's about this virus that when it infects you, it makes you go rabid. It's like super strong rabies in people, but it's a slow killing rabies. That's almost like when a neomorph is on. It's filled with so much rage. It's animalistic. Because in the trailer we see it kind of doing that, whereas a normal xenomorph would, you know, with the phalangeal tongue. I can't pronounce it. It's a special type of tongue that juts out and with such power it can pierce your skull. In fact, there's actually animals that actually do have a second set of jaws. There's an eel that has it, from what I read. Yeah. What else is there? Where is it? Yeah. So, you know, the inner jaw there, it actually comes from another animal. So that was an interesting concept. As I was saying, it's very interesting that if the neomorph and the xenomorph will fight, the alien, sorry, will fight each other. I'm not too sure if it's going to happen. Again, we don't really know anything. We don't know anything. For all we might know, they might not even fight. They might not even see each other. The chances are that they will encounter each other are very high, though. High, I'd say they're quite high. It's unknown what will happen. If they don't encounter each other, and I can see the hairs above my head. Above my eyes, sorry. Why does my hair do this? Just give me a sec. Back to the conversation, as I was saying. Sorry, I had to sort my hair out because I looked a mess. That looks a lot better. Neomorph and xenomorph fighting. That's it, I remember that. If they don't encounter each other, it's gonna be... I don't know. I really don't know what to expect. From what I've seen in the trailers, though, and I've done a bit of research, Catherine Waterston plays Daniels. Daniels is our main character. And she is married to the ship's captain, who is played by James Franco. Which is interesting. I like James Franco, and this is going to be an interesting film for him, because, I mean, I like the guy, and I have high hopes for him, because he's usually been in things like Spider-Man, and then a lot of comedy stuff, like The Dictator, This Is the End, This Is the End, and a few other ones I can't quite remember. He's usually been involved with, and Sausage Party. Not seen that. I don't know if I want to be honest. Animated food. Back on topic. So yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting movie for him. I mean, obviously, for me, he's always going to be Harry Osborn because that's what I grew up with. The Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. I'm open arms though for the new Spider-Man Homecoming out. Open arms for it. It's the MCU. It should do well. Back on topic. Yeah. This should be an interesting movie for him. And we've got Danny McBride as the ship's pilot. I think he's a ship's pilot. I'm not too sure, but from what we've seen of him, he's mostly in the pilot's seat, piloting the ship and all that. Again, interesting because I've only seen him in one movie. I think I've seen him in a few. I'm not sure. I don't know if they were him, but I've seen him in This Is the End, and again, he does mainly comedy stuff from what I've seen. I'm not too sure. I might be wrong on that. He might do more action stuff. I might be wrong, but from what I know, he's been in a comedy film. But yeah, I think it'll be an interesting movie for him. Him and James Franco don't seem like, I mean, not saying this offensively, they don't seem like the kind of guys who would do something like Covenant, because I've never seen him in a horror movie before. But I think that they chose this up as an interesting opportunity for him. I'm open arms. Some people weren't. Hey, I'm open arms. I'm welcoming him through the door to the Alien universe. But there comes a problem. As with all movies in the Alien universe, the death count is pretty high. I don't want to say this, but I think we all know those two are most likely going to be killed off by the alien. At least Danny McBride's character is, because when we see the alien, it's bashing its head on a glass. And it's on top of the ship in the trailer, so he might go off. Then we have the next role. The next two are quite interesting, and I don't know how they're going to play out. We have Noomi Rapace reprising her role. We have Noomi Rapace reprising her role as Elizabeth Shaw. Now, I've seen a video. Well, I've not watched it, but I've seen a screenshot of the thumbnail of it of Shaw as an alien, and I must admit, what kind of theory is that? Like, seriously? I don't know. I mean, it's a theory explain video, but I'd have to watch it. But from what I'm thinking so far, it just doesn't seem to make much sense. But still, back on the track. It's unknown what she's going to be doing. She might be dead for all we know. She might be in flashbacks. What we've seen, which has been speculated, is that Daniels, played by Catherine Watson, is picking some dog tags up, hanging up, probably from the Juggernaut ship. These are speculated to be Elizabeth Shaw's dog tags and her crucifix. I'm thinking the crucifix with her as well. It is unknown. Now for the most interesting role, and probably the most prominent in the whole of the Alien universe, Michael Fassbender. You know what you're thinking? Not much, but he actually has two roles. Well, two roles. And the first of it is Walter, another android. Just another android. He's another one of the Walter model. He's another, we'll just call him the Fassbender model. He's another Fassbender model. He's working on the Covenant. But then Michael's second role is a reprise from Prometheus. It is David Yates. Now this is very interesting to me because the last time we saw David, he had his head torn off. Shaw might have been able to repair him, or he might have done something. But there is rumours he is responsible for creating the Xenomorphs, the iconic Xenomorph that H.R. Giger had designed. It's rumoured he's responsible for creating them. So that's two key things we have in this universe now that we need to look into. We have David Yates and we have the Black Goo. The Black Goo is rumoured to create the Xenomorphs, and it's been confirmed it creates the Neomorphs because it mutates the atmosphere in the ecosystem, which causes these spores, which then, when they release a spore and it goes in your ear, it transforms into a Neomorph, which comes out your back, your head, or your throat. Yeah, kind of gruesome. I'm looking forward to that personally. The sick part of me looks forward to it. And then there's David Yates, who we really don't know. It's high though that he does, because a lot of people have been speculating it, and he was also messing around with that Black Goo a lot. And I mean a lot. Remember what he did to Holloway in Prometheus? You see where I'm coming from? You see where I'm coming from, guys? It's possible he did something. It's unknown, really. Still, I think we'll end it here because I've gone on at least over 20 minutes. I've got a bit off track. I've not said much about Aliens, which is interesting, but I don't really need to say much about Aliens or Alien because they're fine as they are. They're pretty much good. Well, actually, I will say one quick thing. I would have appreciated it if they take all their concept stuff and instead of scrapping it, actually try and find a place for it, or at least have a design. Because this guy, a lot of people who reviewed this figure said, what would it be like if it was in the movie? Now, keep in mind, in the script, there was no concept for this. It was in a very early draft. So it might not have even looked like this at all, but from what was described in the script, it pretty much looked like this. I mean, it might have had brown hues, not pink hues. It might not have even had a tongue like this. It was a probe, yeah, but it might have looked completely different to this from what James Cameron envisioned. But this was the best NECA could do. And if this, let's say this is the final design that was featured in the movie, it would be interesting because the colour, it's very stark. It would have been very interesting, maybe 1 out of 100 or 1 out of 200 becomes an albino. That would have been interesting to discover. But still, enough about that. I'm going to end it here because I think I've gone on. I know there's plenty of other videos out there about Alien Covenant, so mine's probably not going to get that many views, but hey, it's worth a shot. And plus, I want to talk about it because I'm interested in Covenant. I'm very excited for the movie. Also, I need to make an announcement. This bad boy has been refurbished. It's been refurbished, so it needs its review again. Can't wait to do that. I really can't wait to review this thing again. It's got some new tweaks to it. It doesn't look that different, but it is massively different when you think about it. The fingers have all been redone, a bit squarer. The knuckle plate's been slightly tweaked. The van brace has been tweaked. Yeah. So I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Any comments about Alien Covenant, post them down below. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Comment some questions. I want to do a Q&A, and I would love some of your questions and all that shizzle. And please subscribe to the channel because I've got about 600 odd subscribers now. I'm not doing too bad. Well, I'm doing okay, I guess. And yeah, I hope to see you in the next video. Peace.